So, Brad, it sounds like you have an incredible project that's in the works. I hear that it's some kind of television show on Taste TV. Is it Taste TV or is that what it's called?
Tastemade.
Taste.
Tastemade.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have
Yes.
this great show on Tastemade called Make This Tonight. And it's really cool because there's a lot of shows out there that have kind of the cook and stir, the dump and stir, but this is kind of it's taken to another level by having like restaurant chefs and restaurant quality ingredients and dishes, kind of made for the viewer. So the viewer gets a little more insight into like kind of like a deeper level of what we do at the restaurant, or what whether it's a celebrity chef or whether it's somebody who's coming up in the food world. They get a good view of like how they would do a dish. It's not too, some things are simple, but it's not too simple. It's kind of more for like, you really want to get some technique down and you really want to learn.
Nice, nice. And what are some of the things that you're working on? Like, what kind of dishes do you make?
So for what I did for Make This Tonight, I did this. One of the dishes was amazing, which was this plant-based burger. The reason I wanted to make a plant-based burger is because I am not vegan, I'm not vegetarian, I'm not plant-based. But I wanted to make, I kind of wanted to test myself and see if I can make something that was, my dad's a butcher. Well, we can talk about that. But, my dad's a butcher, so I completely and utterly have like this, meat background, and that's kind of who I am. So I wanted to make something that tastes just as good as one of the best burgers you've ever tasted, that has, that's beef. So I made this plant-based burger for Make This Tonight, and it's out of this world. That's one of the dishes. I do a creamy pea risotto with prawns. I also do a salmon. I also do the salmon with this corn succotash, which is delicious. And then I do a fresh, pea and mint salad with creme fraiche. A lot of really cool dishes. Some of them simple, some of them a little more complex, a little more technique, but all of them extraordinarily tasty. And you will absolutely walk away learning something from, I like to call it from the chefy world of the professionals. You will absolutely learn something, I promise. I learn something as I'm making them all the time. So
Nice. And what would you say was the biggest challenge about doing this?
I would say that it really wasn't. The only challenge I probably would say would be, to kind of walk that line on what's something I would make in the restaurant, what's something I would serve to my guests, but also something that's not like, okay, get out your sous vide machine and crank it to this. Now, I know you already made your own kimchi. So it's walking the line at what the home cook has, what the home cook wants to do, but also take it to the next level of not babysitting the home cook, kind of being like, hey, we're going to cook something really cool. It's really fun. If you watch these, you can, rewind it, fast forward it. If you just watch and see what we're doing together, we're going to make something delicious and we're going to learn together.
It's incredible. That's what I love about shows like that. It's like almost like you're cooking with a friend.
Absolutely. I think that's kind of what I bring to the table with all the food shows I do, and especially with Tastemade, is I naturally have that personality. I don't have to fake it, which is the beauty. I don't have to like put on airs. This is who I am. I kind of have always been this way, and I have this. It's been called gregarious. Some might call it loud. I have this personality, and I want to cook with people. I want to show people how to cook. I like taking people on this journey with me. And then the destination happens to be the food, which is, to me, that's the best.
Yes, yes. And I can relate on the loud and the food. I'm Italian, so
Well, then absolutely.
yes, yes. And then the New York is in there, so all of
You
it's
get New
like
York, you get Italian, you put it all together. That's a very loud dinner, but a very
yes,
fun dinner.
very fun, very fun. So it's great. And what would you say was your standout moment about making the show so far?
I would say my standout moment for making this specific show and Make This Tonight is making these incredible dishes kind of for the home viewer, like making these dishes that you would see in my restaurant, that you would see me do it, you'd see on my menu, and making them and giving people kind of an insight into how I'd actually do this at the restaurant, and showing little tips and tricks that people like, oh, that's why when I make it, it doesn't taste as good, but when he makes it at the restaurant, because we have all these little things. So that was definitely, I wouldn't even say a challenge. That was just kind of one of those fun things that I wanted to kind of flip the script on and give the viewers at home like a takeaway that you would find in a real restaurant. You'd find from, any upscale or kind of nice restaurant you'd go to, these little tips and tricks.
Very nice. I love it. I love it. What is your go-to dish that you make?
So my go-to dish so I go first at home. My go-to dish at the restaurant is very different to my go-to dish at home. My go-to dish in the restaurant is dishes are always very much seasonal, very much. We're in California, so if you're kind of not cooking with the seasons, blasphemy a little bit with all the beautiful produce we have. So it's always different. But at home, my go-to dish at home is always a steak because I'm the son of a butcher. I grew up with that. I don't do it very often. I try not to eat, can't eat red meat every day, but I try to do at least, I take a vitamin steak, as my dad calls it, once a day, or excuse me, once a week, a vitamin steak. And, preparing it the right way. Steak's actually a really hard thing to cook properly, letting it rest for 20 minutes, like doing it the right way. I go with the steak at all times. That's usually my go-to at home. If not, then I go with this like super simple, if I'm doing fish, my super simple halibut and a pepperoni sauce, which is basically peppers, garlic, a little bit of capers, onion, cook it all down, put your fish in there, cover it in the oven, like super one pot dish. I probably make that at least once every 2 weeks because it's so easy, but I got to get that vitamin steak in. That's an ode to my dad.
Vitamin steak. I like it. I like it. And by the way, Son of a Butcher would be a great name for a podcast if you were ever to do one.
I have a podcast. We call
Nice.
it BL. It's Bites, Licks, and Taste, but I have Butcher's Son kind of tattooed right here.
Nice.
And my old restaurant was called Ox and Son. My dad is Ox. So I've definitely leaned into it and I tried to trademark it and it's already taken.
No, Son of a Butcher. Pfft.
Son of a butcher, yeah. Someone's doing something with
Someone's doing something. Yes. And how do you take your steak? That's the most important question.
it. So it depends on the steak. Always depends on the steak. If it's a filet mignon, I like to do it rare to medium rare. If it's a ribeye, I like to go medium rare, maybe walking up a little bit, but that's about it. And the reason being is because filet mignon, not a lot of fat content, melts in your mouth. Rare, you can get some good flavors out of it. Prime rib, you have to cook it down. You have to break down the muscle a little bit. You have to break down the fat, let it go in and out of the meat. If you serve that rare, it's kind of chewy. It's not the right way to have it rare. And I know it's the cool thing to have it rare, but it's not the cool way to eat it. I think definitely medium rare or even medium rare, walking up a little bit is the best way to have a prime rib. All that fat gets melted into the meat. Delicious.
I'm going to try that next time I make it. I never do that. And I thought I wasn't going to learn today.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time.
Exactly. And what is your all-time favorite dish other than steak?
Oh man, all-time favorite dish. If you talk to a lot of chefs, we always go simplicity, and I definitely am going to go towards complete simplicity. My all-time favorite dish is a dish that it's not really a dish; it's kind of just a food item. My all-time favorite thing to eat, I don't eat it very often because it's my favorite thing to eat, is honestly just like a street taco. Like that's like where my heaven. I go to Mexico, twice a year, and that's like my heaven is when I get this street taco and I just enjoy. I mean, that's like, come on, it's hard to like everything they've went through and everything they've learned how to do and how it's kind of overcooked, but it's not. I mean, it's a street taco is my go-to favorite thing to absolutely eat. And if it's my favorite thing to eat and make, which I don't do very often, because as a chef, we got to watch the LBs a little bit, is you can't go wrong with, honestly. And it's the hype now is like, vodka, rigatoni with little vodka sauce, super simple, super clean. Nobody does it better than Carbone. Honestly, if you do it at home, it's just so clean, so simple, and so delicious.
I cook a mean vodka sauce from scratch, so I will challenge anyone to this.
Yeah, it's one of those things where once you make it right, you will make it all the time.
Yes. Yes, that's my go-to dish. If I'm having people coming over in 20 minutes, it's like, okay, just throw on some pasta, make the vodka sauce.
Vodka's in the freezer. That's what, vodka's in the cabinet of the freezer. The rigatoni is either maybe you have some fresh frozen tomato paste. You have everything for it, usually,
Yes, exactly. Delicious. And one thing I like asking people I interview is, tell me a fun fact about yourself.
Fun fact. My identity is always like the chef. So I'm an avid fan, and I used to, which is, I've put on a little bit of it, but I used to be a boxer. So,
Okay,
I'm a fan of boxing. And I built a boxing gym in my garage when I moved out to Woodland Hills and bought my house. I mean, like completely outfitted into like, I have the timer, I have everything. So I built a boxing gym just to stay kind of in shape from all this, you know, little vodka sauce and carbonaras and steaks that I have. So I'm an avid fan of boxing. So I try to stay in shape as much as I possibly can. And I built one in the garage because I'm a huge fan.
Nice, nice. And since you're a TV site, what are you watching on TV these days?
So food wise, I pretty much watch every single thing that comes on about food, whether it's on Netflix, whether it's Taste Made, Food Network, Cooking Channel. I mean, any sort of competition. I always kind of watch it just because I'm always interested, and not just what the chefs are doing. I'm always interested in the format of the show. You know, where shows are going because I'm in food TV. So I always like to watch. And I like to also watch like people that are kind of amateur cooks teach me something. I'm like, wow, I'm a professional chef, and I never really knew that. And if it's not a food show, you can find at all times. Everybody has that show they kind of fall asleep to, I call it, and you know it's always on or whatever. It's my go-to when you grab a bowl of something and you're going. Sopranos. I'm an avid Sopranos fan. Like that's what I watch. I probably have seen it front to back 37 times from the moment it aired. It's just the thing I put on in the background. It's Sopranos. I'm always binge watching Sopranos.
I love it. I love Sopranos too. And actually, a little bit of trivia: the guy that played Big Pussy on Vincent Pastore, he used to live right near where my sister lived
Oh
in New
wow!
York. Yeah,
I did a
and his
show on
mother.
VH1 with him. It was called Famous Food. It was only like one season, and it was him and like a bunch of other celebrities, and they were picking a chef. And he's a really good guy.
Yeah, he's amazing. And actually, his mother used to be a cook at my college.
Really?
Yes.
What a college to be a part of.
I know.
I'm guessing that's like amazing food coming out of there.
Yeah, well, this was like way before my time, but
That's really cool.
yeah, it was great. It was great. I was like, we were talking about New York, and I'm like, oh, this is where I went to school, and that's what happened.
That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, you can't get any more New York than those guys. I mean, not only the actors, like they're New York.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today, and I hope you have a wonderful week and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much. It was great talking to you.
Likewise. Talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.